How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A Playmakers View. I'm your host, as always, Jamie Burdish. I appreciate you guys joining the show. Today's guest is a former coach of mine, Coach Bobby Bunton, who has done a tremendous amount of work around the Parkway North community and really around the St. Louis area. And he's definitely a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame person, in my opinion. Has done a lot for many different athletes, and not just athletes, but his students, because he was also a teacher as well. So today we're going to be talking with him about his career, why he coached and why he taught for so many years, and kind of what he's up to now. I'm going to give him a chance to reflect back on all the years that he's coached and maybe specific moments of or specific players that he can reflect on. But this is going to be a fun one because I really do appreciate Coach Bunton, and I hope you guys can learn about a lot about him today. So without further ado, here we go. All right, guys. So, like I said, I have Coach Bobby Bunton join the show. First off, thank you so much, Coach, for joining the show. I've missed you, and I'm excited to talk to you. So, first off, I want to give the viewers, an overview of you. So, can you just give us a brief overview about, who you are and what you've done over the past years of your career?
Sure. I coached, well, first of all, I taught at Parkway North High School for 35 years in Parkway, and I coached football and baseball and was the head coach of each program for a while. But yeah, it was 32 years in baseball and 37 years in the football program, 19 of those as head coach. So um, retired for this is my second full year and bored to death.
All right, so I want to dive into what coaching means to you. That's a long time to coach a sport, let alone or one sport. Coaching two sports. So, what first of all, what got you into coaching the sport? You probably played when you were younger, but is there a reason behind why you coach these sports or why you coach these sports?
I played three sports in high school, sports growing up. It's just I actually went away to college. I went to SEMO, and I went to SEMO. I walked on to play baseball, but I wanted to be a sports writer. Kind of like what you're doing. I was really into the sports journalism, and I got to Cape, and my junior year, excuse me, I got a beat. I was writing for the city newspaper, the Southeast Missourian, and they had me cover Jackson High School football. And I became their beat writer, and they had one of their greatest seasons, probably until now. I followed them weekly. I got to know the head coach very well, and I had so much fun being around the practices and the games, and I just decided to kind of change my major or change my direction in terms of what I wanted to do. So instead of a sports writer, I wanted to get into to teaching and coaching.
Gotcha. So during that time, was there any challenges that you went through? Obviously you were going down a different path. So the transition from doing that into being a coach, was that hard for you, or was it kind of easy because it's something that you really enjoyed?
No, no, I found out that every once in a while you get that lucky person in life that finds their passion, and that was mine. And it was so easy to be able to transition into coaching. And I always found teaching to be the same thing. I mean, teaching and coaching are the same thing. If you can get along with the kids in the classroom and help them out, you can do the same thing with coaching. Again, it's just they're related to one another. So no, in fact, the toughest thing I had to do was to find out what I could teach. And I always enjoyed history. I was close to that in terms of certification hours, and that's what I did. And I spent 18 years at the middle school teaching, American history and literature, and then came to the high school and had 19 years there with teaching American history and driver education.
Gotcha. So when you were coaching during that time, was there something that really, I guess, what was your message to these kids, or something that you've always lived by? I'm trying to just get a message out from you. When you wake up every day, what is something that you wanted to do for those kids? Not just that you were coaching for, but that you were teaching. What was the end goal for you? Looking back now, when you see someone like me or all the other kids that you've taught and all the other kids that you've coached, what is something that you're proud of during those times?
Well, it sounds so cliche, but it really is the relationships. I like hearing from you. The great thing about teaching and coaching is you forget pretty easily in terms of statistics and wins and losses, but you don't forget the relationships and the kids. And to show you what a great question you asked me just about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It is. I'm kind of struggling with retirement, just missing the grind and the kids. I sent out a text to every kid that I still had contacts with in my phone, and I just wanted them to know that I was thinking of them and was hoping that they were healthy through this strange period we're in. And the response I got was, um, "It's why." I'm answering your question. That's why I did it. It brought me just as much joy as hopefully I brought the kids, and I mean that for my career. I just enjoyed the kids. I mean, it didn't matter whether I saw them in the classroom, on the field, and as I told them, if I saw them in the grocery store, I'm the same guy. I just really, really enjoyed the relationships, and I think that's what's important.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't mean to talk long here, but one of the greatest quotes I ever heard, and it's not mine, was the kids, whether it's in the classroom or on the field, don't care how much you know about the subject matter of the sport. They care. They want to know that you care about them, and I just have always believed in that and wanted a great experience. So.
Gotcha. So, that looking back at that and those quotes, was there someone that engraved that into you? Did you have a role model yourself, or someone who played a role, like yourself, who kind of looked down at you and was there for you during your younger age, your younger days, even though you're still pretty young? But was there someone who really impacted
Thank you
you?
for that.
Was there someone who really impacted you to, I guess, put that on to other people now that you have the chance to do that?
Sure. I'd start with my father, definitely. He was very involved in little league sports. That obviously got me involved, and then when I got to North, I mean, I was really, really fortunate to be around, great role models, great in my life. Denny Staub in football, Bob Robin in baseball, Gary Chaput and Jim Seifert in basketball. I mean, these are great men that I'm still, I stay in touch with because they had made they have made such a great mark in my life. Nick Caceres, I mean, and he was my line coach in football, and Nick was with me all 19 years of my head coaching career as a statistician. With my dad. So I've been very, very lucky at Parkway North to be around such great role models.
So, what does Parkway North mean to you? The players, the families, the community. Looking back at it, what does Parkway North mean to you?
Well, at the last year when I knew that was it, and it was time. It was just time for a new voice in the football program, and it was time. 37 years as an educator. Um, I would always tell the kids that you don't want to have, or you want to have very few regrets. I think everybody would have some regrets, change a few things, but I would change very little. The message, when you have a passion of doing something, it just, I mean, in Parkway North, I'm not embarrassed to say it, but always, I mean, I watched the school be built. I watched the first teams, the first, the first classes before I got there. I just always felt this affection for the school and the community. It just seemed to fit. And I always told my friends that as I started teaching many years, that the kids really and the parents were still the same. I mean, it's just North people are special. They really are. And I again, I need to thank the community and the kids more than they need to thank me.
Mhm. So lastly, I want to end with this because I think you're one of the best people to do this. But obviously, like you said, you reached out to a bunch of your former players, texting them. So to the people out there struggling during these, COVID-19 times, I think you're the best person to help them out. So what is a word of advice or something that you've learned through your time just throughout your life that you can share with people to help them get through these tough times, get a little motivation and just, keep living their lives?
Well, two things, and it's a great question. And I'm basing my answer on some of the responses that I got. Number one, I was doing that selfishly to help me. I reached out to, I call my kids, you kids. Um, Little did I know some of the answers I was getting that I was helping them. And I honestly did not intend to do that. It was just, man, I miss the kids. I'm just going to send a text out and see how everybody's doing. But the two things I would be number one, what I would say is number one, be positive. It's amazing the responses that and I got from the kids when they were positive. They were admitting that, boy, I'm struggling as well. And, it just makes you appreciate each other. And some of the texts got intertwined, meaning some of these guys didn't know older graduates, or the older graduates didn't know younger graduates. And everybody's just being positive and just giving little words of advice and thinking of you all, and get through it. Um, so not to ramble here, but definitely be positive, and number one, appreciate those relationships. They are important. And again, here I am at 60 going on 61, and I still totally appreciate the relationships that I had made with the kids at Parkway North.
No doubt. So I want to thank you so much for joining the podcast. It was an honor to have you on, and it was great catching up with you. I'm sure we'll be talking in the near future, but I really hope that the viewers got a chance to learn about your story. And like I said, get some motivation from you because there's nobody else better to do it. So thank you, and thank you
Well,
guys. Go ahead.
thank you. No, I admire you young athletes and what you're doing in this time, and I know how important athletics are to you kids, and you've done a great job, and I sure hope you get a full season in the spring and beat this thing. But you kids are resilient, and I respect that because it's different, man. I've never seen anything like this. So best of luck to you. You've done a great job.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for joining the show. And we'll be back with you guys next week for another episode.